What's going on, YouTubers? My name is Robert Serrano Jr., and I am the natural born thriller. Now, you may not see me on camera, but you can still hear me. But basically, I'm going to talk about a random topic here where it pertains to WWE. And when it comes to WWE, I'm talking about the event that WWE is going to be doing at Saudi Arabia called WWE Crown Jewel, which is going to be on November 2nd, 2018, on my sister's birthday. Now, it's going to be playing in the afternoon, like what it did with the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble back in April. And where it pertains to what WWE is doing at Saudi Arabia, like for example, what it pertains to the Greatest Royal Rumble, which is fine. But I'll get to more back about that when it comes to the Greatest Royal Rumble. But I didn't mind watching that show. But again, I'll get back to our topic later on. But where it pertains to going back there months later to Saudi Arabia to host this pay-per-view, was some people also are calling it a glorified house show, WWE Crown Jewel. Some people don't agree for WWE to go to Saudi Arabia, and also where it pertains to what does it mean? What does it mean at the end of the day? Well, what it means at the end of the day is that Vince McMahon and the WWE are making money that's been given to them by the people the government of Saudi Arabia. And then something happened over there, folks, where it pertains to a certain Washington Post journalist who goes by the name of Jamal Khashoggi, who is actually born in Saudi Arabia, and then he wanted to get away from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, as he started growing up, basically living there, obviously because he was born and raised there. And then he wanted to get out of there, and he sure enough he did get out of there for personal reasons, to go to America, and he's been living in America for I believe for a year now. Where if I'm not mistaken, he lived in Georgia, and he was I guess getting ready to marry this his fiance. Or he was already married, I believe, with this woman who is Turkish. And basically, I'm not the type of person to fully explain about that whole situation, because I'm not professional when it comes to this. But what I'm gonna do is to share you an audio from Bruce Blitz when he did his podcast this past Monday, where it pertains to what WWE doing a deal with Saudi Arabia. And you're probably thinking to yourself too, what's this got to do with WWE? Well, I'm gonna play the audio for you guys to hear Bruce Blitz's thoughts about this too, and all about and his analysis about it too. So with that being said, I'm gonna play the audio. So hopefully you'll take a listen and you understand why this whole situation that WWE doing this deal with Saudi Arabia is a major problem. But here we go.
That right now there's the government of Saudi Arabia may be involved, and I say may be involved with the murdering of a Washington Post reporter. The WWE immediately started off their show advertising Crown Jewel. Now, to a disconnected wrestling nerd who doesn't keep up with current events, who cares? That has nothing to do with WWE. No, that's called blood money. Like, that's probably not a good idea to do a show there until this thing's resolved. But Vince is getting a ton of money to put on shows over there, basically for the royal family in Saudi Arabia, and they're saying one of the princes might have been involved, and there's not a definitive end to this thing. So what has happened? There are outlets I go to for my news because I like to read and come up with my own opinions. You know, instead of having to talking, I tell you how to think. But there's outlets in every corner of the political spectrum dragging the WWE right now. Dragging them. So you already had the, you know, from an optics point of view, it looks really bad when you're doing this women's revolution and then you go do a show in a country where there's women aren't allowed to be on the show. You know, and then now the family that you're taking money from is being accused of hacking, not just killing, hacking up a reporter into pieces. That is the accusation. I don't know if it's true or not, but wow. I mean, wow. You know, again, I know that a lot of people go to WWE for their escape from reality, but this is where the escape from reality meets reality. And reality is, probably should cancel that fucking show. It's a show that doesn't fucking matter anyways. You know, other than Vince generating some revenue. So I thought that was really tone deaf, but I also thought it was indicative of the fact they're being denied, they're being very defiant about this. Because they know they're getting a lot of bad press right now. And I mean a lot of bad press. So, I guess they just decided to double down on it.
So yeah, shout out to Bruce Blitz for that, for his opinions about this whole situation. And folks, yeah, where it pertains to WWE still doing business with Saudi Arabia after this Washington Post journalist go by the name of Jamal Khashoggi. Excuse me. That's what it's all about. Where it pertains to WWE, it's blood money at the end of the day. That the money that they're getting from these people in Saudi Arabia to do these shows. And again, the one of the princes may be involved of the whole situation that happened with this Washington Post journalist. Yeah, by the name of Jamal Khashoggi. And the full story of it too, basically, is that he arrived at Turkey to sign some marriage papers, and his fiance was waiting in the car until he come back out, and there was a security camera seeing him walking into the building, and he never came out. And you got some people from Saudi Arabia reporters saying that or someone saying that he did leave, but he left to the back, to be slick with it. And a group of 15 people from Saudi Arabia to go after this Jamal, to interrogate him, where I guess the interrogation went wrong, and that he ended up being dead. And again, what Bruce Blitz mentioned too, he may have been chopped. After they I guess the pressure of him being interrogated, and he was being tortured, where he ended up dying. And they chopped his body parts and all that, and done something with it afterwards and all that. And the whole story is just crazy, folks. And how something like this could happen? Again, the princes of Saudi Arabia may be involved with this, but at the end of the day, WWE doesn't are still gonna do this show, regardless of after what happened of that event. And it's sickening, folks. It really is sickening. That despite what just happened, the WWE is still are hell bent and so tone deaf and so defiant. that they will still do the show over Saudi Arabia, called WWE Crown Jewel. At this point now, it should be called WWE Blood Money. After all that press coming out where the WWE is being slandered, getting a lot of backlash, and it's not a good image at the end of the day. It's really not a good image for the WWE at this point. So, folks, in my opinion, and as long as everybody else's opinions about this, the WWE needs to cancel this show and do those on the card that they have planned at this event to be either for Survivor Series or for the upcoming house show, Starrcade. Instead of doing this event that's not gonna mean anything at the end of the day, anyways. Just like when it comes to the Greatest Royal Rumble. So in my opinion, just like everybody else's opinions, that agree to the fact that WWE needs to cancel the show, not just because the show doesn't mean anything anyways, but because of what's going on where it pertains to what Saudi Arabia did. Because it's not a good look for them if they continue to doing this show. So they need to cancel the show, and also to no longer do any business with these people at Saudi Arabia after this, where it pertains to they don't want women's to be involved of their shows, or let alone they don't want women's to be going over there at the shows, or at the country to say the least, or not even allowing gays to be in their countries, because if any one that's gay that goes to their country by law over there in Saudi Arabia, they have the right to kill you. And then on top of that, for anyone that leaves Saudi Arabia, who's born and raised in Saudi Arabia and leaves Saudi Arabia and goes back there, who knows what they would have done to Jamal Khashoggi if they would have brought him back to Saudi Arabia, and again, God knows what they would have done with him if they managed to bring him over there, instead of what happened in Turkey in that building where he was he ended up being killed for being interrogated, for being tortured, whatever have you, where it led to chopping his body parts in pieces and all that, and then get rid of all the evidence after that. And folks, where it pertains to WWE doing Crown Jewel at Saudi Arabia, to get back to the whole topic when it comes to WWE, the Greatest Royal Rumble that took place at Saudi Arabia months ago, back in April, where at first I didn't have no problem watching the show. I had no problem with WWE going to Saudi Arabia when it comes to the Greatest Royal Rumble. And then basically I didn't have no problem with any of that at the time, until when I started hearing that the women were not allowed to go there, that no one who's gay who's not allowed to go there, and especially what they did on the show for this one segment with the Vari brothers, that they coming in and they disrespecting the Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian wrestlers that were trained, that WWE did a performance center built. They basically made a performance center for Saudi Arabia, for these future Saudi Arabia people that want to be wrestlers. And the whole thing with the Vari brothers having their Iran flags and waving and all that, where the fans were booing and all that, and then reports coming out afterwards where they were saying death threats to the Vari brothers, and they wanted to behead them. Having a bad image there. Just for that one segment, triggered them. These Saudi Arabia people wanted the heads of the Vari brothers for doing that. And now we're getting to WWE Crown Jewel, where all this press is coming out, what pertains to their one of the Saudi Arabia people being murdered by 15 members of the Saudi Arabian people that may have been confirmed by one of the princes of Saudi Arabia to do for that celebration to take place. That took place again in Turkey, and basically, but when it comes to that too, again, I didn't have no problem watching the Greatest Royal Rumble, but and then when it comes to WWE Crown Jewel, I will have no problem watching that show too. But now with this situation, I'll get to more in that one too when I get to, but I think I know what I mean where I'm coming from where it pertains to that too. As far as WWE Crown Jewel is concerning, folks, where it pertains to what's going to be on the card too as well. For example, with the WWE doing this whole WWE World Cup tournament, which I don't know if they're going to do the entire tournament on that show, considering it's going to be a 5-hour show. But they're going to have that. They're going to do that that type of a matchup again, where it's the WWE World Cup tournament with 8 WWE superstars on the roster. Then the WWE Championship, the WWE Champion AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. Then the WWE Universal Championship, which is a triple threat match between Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar versus WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. And then, for the first time ever, D-Generation X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus the Birds of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker. And as far as the other matches that's going to be on the card for WWE Crown Jewel, don't know what the other match is going to be. But again, I'm assuming because the WWE World Cup tournament is going to be doing the entire tournament on that show, is why, there's only 3 cards on that show. And God knows what's going to happen with the other match. This other match is going to be on the card too as well. But I don't know for sure. But especially with the fact that WWE staffs and superstars, I'm not talking about all of them, but a few of them, that's saying that that they don't want to go over there, based on what happened to this Washington Post journalist, and I don't blame them. At the end of the day, it's all about their safeties. They worry about their safeties, and the last thing they want to do is to go to a country that involve that are associated with murderers. So yeah, whatever WWE does with WWE Crown Jewel, and on top of that, they don't even mention that they're going to be at Saudi Arabia, because they want to move away from that one. But that issue is going to solve anything. Like Bruce Blitz said, after I shared that audio with all you. Basically, WWE has moved away from mentioning Saudi Arabia. That's gonna solve the problems of WWE. Still wants to do this WWE Crown Jewel event. Now, if WWE still wants to go with this event, you could do it at another time, but not at Saudi Arabia. Doesn't matter where in the different location they're going to be in. What pertains to doing the show as this WWE Crown Jewel for Saudi Arabia. Because that's what I'm hearing too. That they might go to a different location in Saudi Arabia, or better yet, they should do it in a different country if they want to do this Crown Jewel. If they still want to push this whole Crown Jewel event, which they have been doing for this week, but not mentioning Saudi Arabia. But at the end of the day, folks, where it pertains to WWE Crown Jewel, it's gonna be a waste of time anyways, and especially when it pertains to the WWE World Cup tournament of who's in it too, basically. But besides that, where I'm coming from when it comes to WWE doing WWE Crown Jewel, here's where my take is where it pertains to this. Fuck WWE Crown Jewel. I ain't watching. I'm not watching the WWE Championship match. I don't give a fuck if it is my loss. what pertains to AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. Two of my favorites in wrestling. I don't give a fuck about DX versus Brothers of Destruction. With those all four of them are out of their primes anyways. Maybe except for Shawn Michaels, who could still go. I don't give a fuck about Roman Reigns defending his Universal Championship against Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, because at the end of the day, Roman Reigns is going to retain that belt anyways. And then this whole WWE World Cup tournament, where you got fuckboy Buckethead John Cena in that tournament for that, and where the winner of that tournament, and they win the cup, they're considered the best in the world. Well, as long as fuckboy Buckethead's in that tournament, I don't give a fuck about that tournament either. So that right there is another reason why not to watch the event too. Not just because some of the of the cards that they might do later on too, it's not gonna mean anything at the end of the day. But this whole World Cup tournament thing, it's not gonna mean anything anyways. Like the whole thing with the Greatest Royal Rumble, where Braun Strowman win the match and win that big trophy and then the belt that they don't even mention that much anyways. So why the fuck should I care about this event? And then if someone does win the WWE World Cup that I want to see win, like a Rey Mysterio Jr. Just for this to not mention who's the winner of this WWE World Cup from Crown Jewel and all that. And then on top of that, of the match, where they're going to be plugging the first time ever, because we never got this match before in the Attitude Era. We never got this match before in the Ruthless Aggression Era. We never got this match before in the PG era. And now we're getting it in the era where these guys are out of their primes, where they could have done these tag team matches years ago between DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. So I'm not gonna cover this show. I'm not gonna watch this show. I'm gonna pass on this show so I could spend my sister's birthday on November 2nd instead of wasting my Saturday or Friday, wherever it's gonna be on, for WWE's Blood Money event. So fuck WWE for that. Fuck Mr. McMahon for that. Fuck Saudi Arabia, and fuck WWE Crown Jewel. And on top of that, fuck Roman Reigns. Fuck John Cena. Fuck this WWE World Cup. And most importantly, what pertains to WWE making this type of money, fuck blood money. What pertains to WWE, the way they making money right now, for that. And with that being said, I'm done. Thank you all for watching. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. Peace on the streets. I'll talk to you all soon, but for now, I'm out.